This is episode 4, Conduit. It was written by Alex Gansa and Howard Gordon, and directed by Daniel Sackheim, who will go on to direct a few other notable episodes. Conduit premiered October 1st, 1993. I've had to watch this a couple of times. I have completely forgotten about this episode. I don't think it's very good. They're just starting to get their feet underneath them. So certainly in 1993, teenage me was willing to give them a ton of slack. Especially so early in their first season. Ruby!
Sioux City, Iowa. That's the first I've heard of it.
In essence, Mulder is petitioning the Bureau to assign a case number to a tabloid headline.
He must have more evidence.
Not according to his 302, he doesn't.
I admit that is strange. Even for Mulder.
Mulder is just out here wasting taxpayer dollars. Samantha Mulder would be 29 years old as of the airing of this episode.
She was his sister. She disappeared 21 years ago. He recalls a bright light outside the window and a presence in the room.
Agent Mulder's preoccupation with fringe matters has been a big source of friction in the Bureau. This is another case in point.
Reprised from the pilot, Mulder's a crank and a pain in the ass.
Oka what?
Boji. Okaboji. 4 sightings in 1967, August, including one by a National Weather Service plane. This is a light-blasted, digitally enhanced enlargement.
This is one of the worst UFO photos I've ever seen.
4 of the 9 girls in the troop claim to have seen something. 5 if you include the den mother. Now read me the names of those Girl Scouts from 1967.
Lisa Terrell, Bonnie Winston, Doreen McAllister, Darlene Moore.
It's the same Darlene Morris.
I know what the director is trying for here, but it seems both ham-fisted and really easy to take out of context.
It's just like it was before.
Summer of 1967, the Girl Scout troop.
How did you know about that?
Your name's on record at the Center for UFO Studies in Evanston, Illinois.
They took her, didn't they, Mr. Mulder?
Your mom tells me you've been having nightmares.
I guess so.
You want to tell me about them?
No.
Not without a lawyer.
You making something? Can I take a look at it?
It's coming from there.
We are channeling Poltergeist here. Credit to the kid for doing a really good creepy child performance.
I don't know what it is.
This is a telefax machine, a technological dinosaur that is surprisingly still in use today, almost entirely because of the necromantic efforts of the American medical industry.
Maybe a binary sequence of some kind. Could be anything, could be nothing.
We went out to the campsite. We didn't find anything. Let me tell you something. Darlene's little girl was no prom queen.
Greg got Ruby pregnant.
We really are getting a strong Twin Peaks vibe from this side of the story.
I don't know, whatever. She got herself pregnant. Do you know what they were planning to do about it? Gonna leave town. At least that's what Ruby told me.
Now, our criminal mastermind, a jealous high school teenager, picks out the FBI agents, spins a tale about Ruby and Greg leaving town. Now, why she does this is unfathomable to me. However, in her defense, she probably thinks that the FBI agents are really stupid, as she just easily loses them in a public library.
Excuse me. Do you know where we can find Greg Randall?
Who's asking?
Hey, that's a nice tattoo. What is that?
What's it look like?
Hey, that's longtime character actor Donald Gibb, doing his best to be an imposing biker bartender. You probably remember him as Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds, or Ray Jackson, Frank Dukes' buddy from Bloodsport.
Flying saucer. You don't really believe in that stuff, do you?
So, you haven't been out to Lake Okoboji, have you?
No, I haven't. Why?
Get a killer sunbird in the middle of the night.
Somehow he managed to get a significant dose of radiation just to the ear. What's this NSA raid about? Was this just written in to get some cake shots or something? I don't know.
This is a document? Just looks like a bunch of ones and zeros to me.
Tell me where you got it.
Tell me what it is.
It's a defense satellite transmission.
You're kidding.
Just a fragment, but highly classified. We need to know where it came from.
What?
You shouldn't have told them. They have no jurisdiction.
Mulder, they're NSA. They think the boy may be a threat to national security.
Come on.
Scully is credulously certain that the NSA must have a good reason to harass a child.
No.
Okay, I admit it's not much of an explanation, but
I think that Kevin is a conduit of some kind.
a conduit. But how?
If there was an abduction, it's likely that Kevin was touched in some way.
Now, this is part of some fringier UFO lore. I think it was mentioned in the Mothman prophecies. And it's this idea that contactees have been reported, allegedly, to develop unusual abilities or even psychic powers post-contact.
Something was out here, Scully. Something hot enough to turn sand into glass, to singe those trees, and to blister the roof of that camper.
What is it?
It's a grave. Shallow by the smell of it.
Victim's name was Greg Randall.
Ruby's boyfriend.
Ruby had a lot of boyfriends.
Now, you've waived the right to an attorney. You said that he and Ruby were seeing each other. You said that they were planning to meet at the lake. Is that true?
Look I was nowhere near the lake that night, okay?
I didn't kill her!
You didn't!
She wasn't even there that night!
Well, how would you know that, Tessa? If you weren't there yourself.
Damn, our criminal genius has fumbled the bag.
We have a suspect in custody. We have a confession to one murder, and we have a statement which speaks to the intent to commit another.
Hey, wait, hang on. I don't know about you, but I didn't hear a confession.
It's over, Mulder. It's time to go home and turn this over to local law enforcement.
I can't do that.
Mulder, stop! Stop running after your sister. This won't bring her back.
Come with me or don't come with me. But until they find a body, I'm not giving up on that girl.
What does it mean?
I don't know.
Oh my God. It's her. It's Ruby.
Now, this is clever, but I feel like one of the writers saw a street artist do something like this and thought, we've got to get that into the show.
Look, there's a trailhead.
Now, this certainly reminds you of the pilot.
Ruby! She's unconscious, but she's still alive.
I'll get help.
Actually, both. How did you know that?
They're symptoms of prolonged weightlessness. Shuttle astronauts have reported similar imbalances. Where were you, Ruby? Can you tell us?
I'm not supposed to tell. They told me not to say.
Who told you?
You don't have to say anything.
If there's only one thing you take away from this episode, it's never talk to the cops.
She should be encouraged to tell her story, not to keep it inside. It's important that you let her.
Important to who? All of my life I have been ridiculed for speaking my mind.
But it was the truth, Darlene.
No, thanks. I'm a social pariah in my own community, and my daughter's boyfriend was just murdered. I mean, she had a lot of boyfriends, but still.
The truth has caused me nothing but heartache. I don't want the same thing for her.
Try turning your head.
I can't.
Why not?
I don't know. I can't move. So I don't. I just lie there in bed.
Can you see your sister?
She's crying out for help, but I can't help her. The voice in my head, it's telling me that no harm will come to her, and that one day she'll return.
Do you believe the voice?
I want to believe.
So to recap, an Iowa girl, Ruby Morris, goes missing, likely abducted by extraterrestrials. Her mother had a UFO sighting 25 years earlier. This abduction seems to have altered the perspective or perceptive capabilities of Kevin Morris, who can now pull binary transmissions from TV static, including a highly classified Department of Defense satellite signal. Meanwhile, Ruby had been dating a man named Greg who impregnated Tessa. Tessa, being jealous from this new relationship, allegedly killed him. Would have killed Ruby too had she not been abducted. Then Ruby shows back up, unwilling to speak about the things she just experienced. Now, this is a really incoherent plot. It's not a monster of the week. It's not really part of the series myth arc either. Nothing is ultimately accomplished in this episode. They did presumably solve a murder by interrogating a teenager who didn't have legal counsel. So, justice for Greg, I guess. Now, we are made to understand that Mulder's most desperate desire is a resolution to his sister's disappearance. The only new detail we get is Mulder heard a voice that said she'd be returned. I think this ending could have been added to almost any episode and have been far more impactful if it occurred later in the season. in just the 4th episode, this really feels heavy-handed and unearned at this point. Now, I will say, with the benefit of hindsight, the Samantha Mulder missing sister story arc is going to haunt this series to the end. It is painfully obvious that Chris Carter never had a real plan to resolve this. Surely, the next episode will be better. I bet Chris has got an ace up his sleeve. He's ready to play. That's it. That's Conduit. Next up, number 5, The Jersey Devil.